In this video, we're going to talk about the state list drawable, which essentially is a state selector object that allows us to change the state of a button, right? So a button or any drawable could have a few states. Let's give an example of a button. A button can have a pressed state, a focused state, enabled state, and so many others. So what we're going to do here in this video is to create a state list drawable, a state list XML, that we can then invoke it in our button so that we can track those states and show different colors or different user interface cues. All right, so let's go back to our drawable here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new one. Say new drawable, and this time I'm going to let's call this button underscore state, and make sure that the naming has to always be lowercase and use underscores. Say okay, and there we go. So notice this one is going to be a selector, which is exactly what we want. So let's go ahead and give it a few items, which means properties. So the first item is going to be here. We're going to say Android. Notice we're going to Android say state pressed. We're going to say true. Okay, and the next property is going to be enabled. We're going to say true as well. And now the drawable that we are going to give when this state is indeed happening, when the state is pressed and enabled, we're going to say drawable. And here for now, what we're going to do is we are going to pass a drawable object, a drawable XML. For now, let's just give it a color primary. Okay. And let's close this state. So this is the first object. This is the first state. The next state, we can say item. This is different property. We're going to do the following, the same things. State focused. As such, we're going to make it true. Right? State enabled. Going to make it true as well. And what is, let's get rid of this. And now next we're going to do the drawable. So what is the color or the drawable we are going to invoke when this state is happening? For now, let's go ahead and give color accent as such. And we're going to finalize our property. And the last property we can do here is state enable. So we can say enabled. It's going to be true. And then let's give it a drawable. In that case, let's give a gray color. And we're going to close. Okay, so now that we have our selector button state, we can actually use it in our button here. Let's get rid of this background shape. We are going to just go ahead and say button state as such. Now if we save, in fact, if you go to preview here, we'll see that the state, because this is the enable, we set it to be gray. Let's go ahead and run this, because that's the pretty much only way we can actually see all these states actually working. Now we could create another selector. Let's say we want to make sure that all that happens when we click, we want to change the color of the button text, the title of the button. Well, we can go ahead and do the same thing. Drawable here, say new, drawable. This is going to be, we could call this button underscore text. Okay, and what are we going to do? So what we're going to do, we're going to say item, whoops, as such. And let's go ahead and I'm going to say pressed, state pressed, we'll make it true. I'm going to say Android. We can give a color that we want. For instance, in this case, we're going to, let's go and give a primary dark. Okay, and then close this item there. Let's create another one. This one is going to be state focused. It's going to be true. When the state is focused, we want the drawable to be, say, a different color. Let's say color accent, like that. Okay, let's finish that up. And the last one is going to be the default. Let's say drawable is just going to be, let's use at Android here, color white. Now what's going on here? You notice that I use a different namespace here. Anything else, we go to our color folder and we get the color. But you can also use the @Android, which means you're getting the namespace, you're getting the colors from our Android system, from our Android libraries. Right? These are the default colors that come with our Android, so we can use them as many times as we want. Okay, that's another beauty of developing with Android here. So I'm going to close that. Now what I'm going to do for the text color, I'm going to go ahead and say Android text color as such. Okay, I'm going to go past button text. So what this does is that not only is the background going to change to the button state selector that we created, but we also going to change the text color when the button is clicked. So it will follow again the same idea here, right? Let's go back to button text here. So if the pressed state is true, is on, then we're going to show this color primary dark. If its focus is true, we're going to show the color state accent. Okay, and in any other case, it's just going to be white. Right, something is not right. Right, instead of drawable here, we're going to say color because we want to change the color element. Let's change all this to color. Okay, now if you save this and run, we should see the correct results. Hopefully, there we go. So we said here in default mode, we have the color to be white. If we click, you notice the color of our text is also changed to pretty much the same color as the background of the button. We should have changed this to a different color, but at least you see that this indeed works. Okay, look at that. As you can see here, we were able to create a selector to our button, which allows us to literally put different states into our buttons. Okay. And again, you can do this with any other user interface, but usually with any other user element, but usually we use them for buttons and selectors for list views and so forth. Very nice. Perfect. So you've learned another thing about using state list drawables. Play around with this concept and I'll see you in the next video.